So this is the pound dollar analysis for Monday, the 5th of February. Now, let's have a look at the prices and where prices may likely go. So initially we saw prices come down towards this 140.05. We found support there. We've had to move upwards beyond 141.20 or so. With a brief consolidation before we had a test of this 142.66. About 142.66, as we can see, we've had several tests, had a consolidation beneath this 142.66, from which we saw some sell side momentum coming to the market, breaking down beneath the 200 period moving average. We've had a retest of a 200 period moving average and failed. And what we have seen is prices consolidated at the close in around the 41.20. Now we've had a brief gap down in the market. We do appear poised for a test of this 41.20 now. If at the test of the 41.20, we're about 8 pips away so far. So if we do break above the 41.20 and we do hold it on a retest, we'll see how prices react around the 200 period moving average. Successful break from which we're looking to see how prices react around the 41.96, essentially 42. Break from there, we're looking for prices to head up, continue the uptrend on the pound against the dollar. Head up towards this 42.66 and beyond which we're looking for the highs of 2018 so far in around the 143.43 level. And a break from there later on, possibly during the week, if we do have sufficient buy side momentum, we're looking for price head towards our 43.95. If, however, we do fail on the test of the 41.20, if we do fail in first test of 41.20 or the 200 or 41.96, we are looking for price head back down towards this 40.05. Down at 40.05, we'll see whether we do get a bit of a double bottom for possibly a price moving upwards towards our 41.20 and 42 level. If, however, we fail at the 40.05 level, we look to see how prices react around the 400 period moving average marked out here in black. A break from which we're looking for price to head down towards our 39.42 level. That pretty much just wraps up all the levels that we are looking at on the hourly chart here. The most recent trend that we have developing here is to the downside slightly, but we'll see how prices react around this area, which could potentially act as a resistance, or if we do break and test it, act as support for further upside continuation of this trend, especially on the higher time frames. Now, with the hourly chart complete, let's just have a look at the big picture. So we'll head over to monthly. Okay, scaling correct. So over to the monthly chart and the pound dollar, we have, that's the intro. Anyway, as we can see here, we've come down into this area, found support. We've had a brief move upwards. Now, slightly of concern is the previous month's candle. The previous month's candle was a pretty large candle by comparison to the previous candles. It's almost an engulfing candle, open to close. It pretty much almost engulfs the previous five. I think it does engulf the previous 5 candles in terms of its size. The candle from January. So what usually happens with something like this is we usually get a pullback. We're in a clear uptrend on the pound against the dollar after having such a large candle. So we're expecting a pullback here. So we'll see how prices do head down towards that possibly 38.35 from here before seeing further upside continuation. But overall, the trend on the pound dollar is to the upside. So again, on the higher time frames, we are supporting prices heading upwards, possibly closing head towards that 145, which will likely be a psychological level before heading towards that 150, and pretty much a highs in around the Brexit month candle from 2016. Now, let's have a look at the weekly time frame. So if we head over to the weekly time frame, what we can see here is we've come into this area, found support. We've used the 20 period moving average as dynamic level of support from which we've seen further upside momentum. Now, we've had previous to last week's candle, which was a doji, which was bearish. We had several weeks of consecutive bullish price action, all the way up to this 143.43 level. Our highs. We do have a 200 period moving average pretty close by. sitting at the 143.64, is it? Just bear with me a second here. We do have the 200 period moving average sitting at 143.82, so we do have to be aware of that if we do head beyond the 143.43 level. Now, on this weekly time frame, we can see a large wick from the candle from essentially 2 weeks prior, 2 to 3 weeks prior. Last week, we do have a wick to the upside, suggesting that there is sell-side momentum. It was a doji candle, so we do look poised for possibly a pullback before we see the further upside continuation, as we have seen in a couple of occasions here where we have had a pullback before seeing further upside continuation. Overall, though, we continue to hold above the 20-period moving average on the weekly time frame, so we do have a slight long bias on, well, it does appear that the market does have a slight long bias on the pound against the dollar. Now, let's head over to the daily time frame before wrapping up here on the pound dollar. So if we head over to the daily time frame, what can we see here? We went into this period of consolidation just down here, had a brief pullback, breakout, pullback, had a brief pullback again. So we've seen pretty smooth price action here. Upside continuation, brief pullbacks, nothing to be concerned about. We haven't seen lower highs posted. All we've seen a series of higher highs and higher lows. We've seen a series of higher lows, suggesting that there's further upside momentum. We've had the sell side momentum come in here, 42.66. Had a pullback. We've had another test of 42.66 and another pullback. So we'll see how prices develop, whether we can consolidate into this area in around the 140.05 and 142.66 before possibly looking for a break above this 143 and a move to head towards that 145 level on the pound dollar. And with that said, that pretty much wraps up the pound dollar analysis. Thanks for watching.